and we're going to talk about how to choose a beachhead market. That's very exciting. So you're in the whole ed tech space, and that's a burgeoning field. But let's focus now on the process, how Miro and Tom chose a beachhead market and why that's important. So so a few points about that. First of all, it was something that you and Tom had a passion about, and you had some assets. Can you talk about Tom's background and your background about why this was such a good fit?
So we actually paid our way through school by doing private tutoring. So that was part of how we made our livings, and actually had a background in the test prep space in particular, and a knowledge of the customer that was really helpful to us. So in sort of crafting the persona, we'd actually talk to a lot of those people as part of our day-to-day job. And part of how we bootstrapped the company at the beginning was by continuing to do private tutoring for students.
Now, you brought up the point of it being a strong value proposition because they're looking to go to college. Can you talk about the strong value proposition and the funding that's available?
Yep. So again, part of why we picked test prep again is that there are a set of customers in here who are already spending this money. So you think about, and certainly as we thought of, okay, well, we could look for markets where people weren't spending any money on this problem. Maybe they didn't recognize that it was a problem. Or you could do a place where people are already spending a lot of money and there's a lot of well-funded people looking to solve this problem.
Yes.
And we ended up going with a market where there's people already spending money to solve this problem in a really clear way. And as a result, what we have to do is convince people to use us in lieu of another service, which has its own challenges, as opposed to convincing people to maybe use a service that doesn't exist, where non-action is the sort of other option.
So it's good. From a beachhead market standpoint, it was something you were passionate about. There was money there because they were already spending on other things. You had a strong value proposition, and you knew how to get to the customers because you had worked in this market before. The issue that you're focused on is, now from our framework is, what's the competition? What's your competitive advantage? And maybe that's where we should talk a little bit about blended learning. And can you say what blended learning is and why that's a competitive advantage?
Yeah, so blended learning is a combination and a general term of any sort of combination of people and technology in the learning process. So it can be really just broadly applied to anything. In our particular case, what it means is think of a private tutoring model where you go and you sit with a private tutor for 2 hours a week and work on a specific problem. What we bring is a lot of technology to that, both so you're going to meet with your tutor online, but also so that the work that you're doing, you're not doing in a paper book, you're doing online, and we get a lot of benefits from that. We can see what you're doing, how you're getting better, how you're improving. The value proposition for users is that we can actually get just as much results with you with less time with you and the tutor together, but just as good educational results, and so we can get you a great tutor and charge you much less.
So you have competitive advantage from your standpoint. Now the question is, how do you get the customer to see that, your target customer? And can you talk a little bit about that? Because it's not just you understand you're better than the competitor. It's the perception of the decision maker in this unit, the end customer.
And so one of our big qualifiers, especially earlier on, of customers is that they have to be willing to experiment. And this is one of the ways in which, there's some pros and cons. I sort of wish this wasn't the case, and I think over time it will be less so. But for us, our target customer is probably someone that we're connected to in some way.